I am the greatest.
Someone look color. Someone look color. Someone look gas. Someone look color.
What is up, guys? Marcellus Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to educate you on health and fitness and social well-being. Today's video is not going to be that long, guys. I'm pretty much addressing this because it's a question I've been getting very frequently from various people, both, in person, over social media. So I figured I'd just make a video to address this because there seems to be a lot of misunderstanding with how this works. And pretty much the questions all fall in line with how is it that I train the way I do right now as a power lifter, but still look the way I do. And I think that's because a lot of people seem to have this misconception still that how you train has just a huge amount to do with how you look. And it does to a certain degree. But so here's the thing. I've already explained to you guys about concurrent training, right? Which is pretty much, what power building actually is, where you have days where you're focused on higher intensity, which is just, heavier weight on the bar, but for less reps. So maybe like 5 sets of 3 on bench, squats, deadlifts, whatever other compound movements you're doing. And then you have days that are more focused on volume. So lighter weight, but more reps, maybe more sets, like 4 sets of 12, something like that. And that's kind of giving me that combination of myofibular hypertrophy, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. And in past videos, I've already explained to you guys that so long as you are progressively overloading, regardless of your set and rep range, whether you're doing 5 sets of 3, 5 sets of 5, 3 sets of 12, 5 sets of 20, so long as you are gradually adding weight to the bar, progressively overloading, and assuming you're in a caloric surplus, you will build muscle mass. You will still gain muscle hypertrophy, regardless of set and rep ranges. But people still seem to be kind of confused on like, okay, I get that, but how is it with the way you're training right now as a powerlifter that you're still, because I'm preparing for my meet that's coming up in March, how I'm still able to maintain the quote unquote bodybuildish or bodybuilding looking physique or whatever. And guys, what you have to understand is there's really only two main differences, two things that make the huge differences in a physique of a bodybuilder and a powerlifter. And it's not so much just the way they train as far as sets and reps. It's two things. The first thing, guys, is going to be diet, and the second thing is accessory movement. So here's the thing. In terms of diet, guys, it pretty much comes down to this. Obviously, bodybuilders, they'll bulk, try to build as much muscle as they can, and then they cut down for a show. What you guys have to understand about powerlifters is very rarely do you see powerlifters doing like cuts, unless they have to maybe cut a few pounds, water weight or something like that to be in their weight class. But most powerlifters, especially in the heavier weight class, guys, they're focused on staying in a surplus, eating as much as they can, getting as strong as they can. And even those of us who are trying to just stay in our own weight class, usually we're still eating as much as we can possibly get away with while still staying in our weight class. So they're not worried about aesthetics or what their physique looks like. They're worried about how much weight they can put up, and eating more obviously is going to help them with that. So that's the thing. If you think about it, guys, a lot of bodybuilders in their off seasons when they're just bulking hard, they basically look like powerlifters because that's kind of the mode powerlifters are in all the time. Eat as much as I can, get as strong as I can, so I'm staying in my weight class. So that's the biggest thing. It's just caloric control. Like right now, guys, I'm at maintenance. So even though, I'm more focused on powerlifting right now because I'm, in my powerlifting prep, I'm not training the way that I usually do because I'm, training specifically for this meet. My calories are at maintenance right now. So I'm not going to put on a whole bunch of body fat. I'm not even really going to put on a whole bunch of muscle as well. So that's why I can maintain my physique, because it's all about caloric input and output at the end of the day, guys. So that's the biggest thing. And the second thing, guys, that really kind of makes a difference, between bodybuilders and powerlifters, because, sometimes you can say like, okay, well, what about the powerlifters who are in the smaller weight classes? They still don't seem as aesthetic or as defined or muscularly developed as what they could be. And a lot of that, guys, comes down to just accessory movements. Because believe it or not, guys, there's a lot of bodybuilders out there who train a lot like powerlifters. Like, more for the fact they tell you, I'm a bodybuilder, you would think that they're maybe a powerlifter, like meaning they come in and they just focus on heavy compound movements, very high intensity, heavy triples, doubles. There's even some bodybuilders out there that just go in and they work up to a heavy single on most of their movements. But, the difference is those accessory movements that they'll still throw in to work on their weak points. The fact is, guys, a lot of powerlifters, unfortunately, don't put a whole lot of emphasis on accessory movements. Some do. Some are like myself, but a lot of them, they're all about the big three and only the big three. And the only accessory work you'll see them doing are variations of the big three, like pod squats or block press on bench or pulling deadlifts from a deficit. They don't do an exceptional amount of accessory work. And if they do, it's usually just like accessory back movements to get a stronger back. But they don't do a whole lot of, you won't see them doing a whole lot of like extra movements outside of that though. Not a lot of them anyway. Whereas bodybuilders, you know, even the ones who are focused on like the big three and their compound movements, they'll come in, they'll do their accessory work for their biceps, their triceps, they'll do some extra leg press or lunges, leg extensions, etc. And that's what's gonna make the huge difference, guys, because if all things being equal, we have two people coming in, training the exact same way on their compound movements, it's the exact same caloric input and everything like that, but we have one person who at the end does a little bit of extra arm muscle work like bicep and curls and tricep extensions, that person is going to have bigger arms more than likely than the person who's not doing that, everything else being equal. So those are the two big things, guys, that kind of differentiate between a powerlifter's physique and a bodybuilder's physique. Like I myself, if you guys notice in some of my videos, even now while doing my powerlifting prep, and even though I'm not doing as much accessory movements as I usually do, I still have my accessory movements. I'll still come in and do my lateral raises, I'll do something for my rear delts, I'll hit some biceps, triceps, leg extensions, leg curls. So that's the thing, guys. That's why my physique pretty much stays the same ways, because my caloric input and because I still hit those accessory movements. And then in my off season, guys, when I'm not prepping for a meet, I pretty much train like a bodybuilder because I have a lot more volume. I have a lot more accessory movements, and a lot of powerlifters are kind of opposed to that because they're all big on, you know, specificity of training. But I'll explain my philosophy behind that whole thing and why I train that way even for powerlifting at a later time. But in this video, I just wanted to address that, guys, that those are pretty much the two biggest differences. It's all about diet and the fact that bodybuilders are usually doing a lot more movements, so they're getting a bit more of that muscular development in different ways, a little bit more of that sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. That's pretty much it, guys. Other than that, most bodybuilders and powerlifters in the same weight class would pretty much look very similar, if not for those two factors. Because like I said, a lot of bodybuilders and powerlifters do train similarly, whether you realize it or not. It just comes down to controlling their diet and those accessory movements, which is all based upon what their sport is. So that's all it comes down to, guys. Nothing much more to it than that. I hope this video wasn't too long. I hope I got my point across. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know that you did. If you didn't enjoy the video, leave a comment down below. Let me know what I can do to get better. Let me know what I can do to make sure you guys enjoy these videos, whether informative, workout videos, social well-being talks, whatever it is. Leave it down below. I read through all the comments. I take all criticism, as most of you already know by now. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch y'all later.
I am the greatest.
Come on, look